everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video I will give you some top tips on how to ace your remote or online interviews. This is specifically applicable for AP posts, assistant psychologist posts in the NHS or non-NHS. Obviously this year they have been predominant, maybe now we're phasing back to a little bit more of face-to-face, but if you're still getting some online invitations, please keep on watching and I really hope you can learn a tip or two. So my number one tip, as always, is going to be prepared. And I'm going to talk a bit more about what you can do before the interview. So the first thing I would do is check my internet connection. Obviously, if you don't have the best internet connection, it's maybe not possible to change it before the interview. If you are able to, I would strongly recommend getting an Ethernet cable so that you can have a wired instead of a wireless connection. You just plug it to your router and then you plug it to your computer, and that way it's going to be uninterrupted and it's the best quality for video calls. This ensures that you're not interrupted in the video, that your audio is fine, your video is fine, there's no buffering, there's no echo, and it's just going to make the experience so much better for both you and the interviewer. There's nothing worse than someone who lags on an interview. No matter what people say, it might leave a bad impression. Of course, if it happens, it's not the end of the world. Number two, get a quiet room or a quiet space. This is really important. Do not be disturbed. If you have family members or roommates or boyfriends or whatever, you know, just tell them, leave me alone for this time period, a little bit before, a little bit after. Just give yourself a big bracket. If you want to go one step further, you can leave a note outside of your door for the postman or deliveries. You can say, do not disturb, interview in progress. If you have neighbors and you know that they're quite loud at certain moments of the day, maybe try and schedule your interview for a time before or after that. Number three, try to get a nice background for the interview. Something neutral is really important, something that is not cluttered, but also you want to get a bit of, you know, a nice atmosphere. I think a plant is really good. Professional is definitely important. Try not to do it with your bed in the background, but if you must, make sure your bed is made. Number four, try to get some nice equipment. So obviously a webcam is important and a microphone. Obviously we don't all have a microphone. What I have is my headphones. They've got a microphone built in. Definitely try to have earphones or headphones, because if you don't, you might have some echo throughout the video and the interviewers might hear themselves through your speakers, and that is really annoying. So if you get some nice professional looking earphones or headphones, just make sure that the sound quality is better for, again, both of you, and it's just a nicer atmosphere to have your interview and let you give the answers that you want without being disrupted by bad sound, and make sure that they hear you and the amazing things that you have to say. Okay, so number two, what to do during the interview. So this is some tips that I've learned because all of my interviews for assistant psychologists have been online. I have never been to a real assistant psychologist interview, and I dread the day that this happens because I have gotten so comfortable on my computer. So the number one tip is to look at the camera. You do not want to be looking at the screen because that will just be you looking underneath, and you do not want to be looking at yourself in the corner because they will notice that. They will immediately know. So if you must look at something, at least look at them, but even better so, look at the camera, because this will give the impression of looking them in the eye, and it's like being in real life. And I know this is difficult, but it's something to get used to, so try and practice that. Talking about practice, try to practice with your friends, do a test run. If they're going to be using Microsoft Teams, do a call with your friends on Teams or Zoom, or, you know, try to test the platform, your mic, your environment, your connection. Just, you know, being prepared is the only way to troubleshoot and make sure that you can come up with problems beforehand and solve them instead of coming up with problems during the interview. If they don't suggest that, you can always say at the beginning of the interview, if there's anything that happens, you have my phone number that you can reach me on, or here's my phone number. That shows that you're, you know, thoughtful and prepared, but more likely they will have a plan in place and they will communicate that with you. That's what they did with me. Another really important tip is to smile and have body language and be animated. This is so important because in real life, you know, they have this peripheral vision of you and your body, and you're not just a rigid head on the screen, and they will know that you're a real person. But on the screen, you are looking much more static than you would in real life, and a bit more, you know, dead and inert and you want to look lively and animated. So what you can do is smile a lot and move a bit with your hands like what I'm doing, but not too much, because then it looks like that and it's going to be very distracting for them. You can try to nod and everything when they're talking. I make a point of nodding and smiling and everything, and I know I look a bit stupid, but it's just better than them wondering if the image just froze on them. You want to make up for the lack of real-life interaction by maybe over-exaggerating the movements and body gestures that you would normally do. Okay, and then my last top tip, and this is something that really saved me, was to have a couple of post-its nearby. And I really mean this, a couple. It's not just because you have your whole desk in front of you that you're allowed to put notes everywhere. This will just not only distract you, it might overwhelm you. If you knock the camera over and they see you have notes everywhere, they're not going to be very happy. But yeah, most likely it's just not going to be helpful because you don't have time to read all of that. And if you did, and you were looking at your notes while you were talking to them, this isn't nice. This isn't very good. So get a couple of post-its. What I did was that I prioritized a couple of things. I think one thing that I really wanted was the values. So the values of the trust, I wrote them down on a big large post-it, big pen, and I sort of taped that to my computer screen right next to the camera, so that if my eyes wandered just a little bit, it wasn't too bad. And I just wrote a couple of values. And then the second thing that I wrote, I think it was something like the 3 key points that I wanted to put across in that interview. And that varied between my interviews because it depended on the person's specs and the job. But like one of them was very data analytic driven. So what I wanted to put across was that I was very confident with data, very eager to excel in that. And another one, I think it was that I had a good reflective skills. So then I want to put across that I am reflective. And just seeing the word reflective every now and then next to my screen just reminded me, if I'm able to link my answer that I was giving back to reflectiveness somehow. And it was really helpful to have those because they kept me focused. And it can be really difficult to stay focused when you're answering and rambling for 5 minutes. Which brings me to another tip as well, is to keep an eye on the time. You have the benefit of having the time right on the corner, so you can use that and you can check that you have not been speaking for too long, but more importantly in my eyes, that you have been speaking for enough, because it can be tempting to just speak for 30 seconds and then say, I'm ready, next question, but really they just want to hear you ramble. It's just the truth, you have to expand, you have to talk about yourself more. So yeah, take your time, answer fully, look at the time. So yeah, I think that's it for my top tips for remote interviews. I really hope those were useful for you. Let me know if there's anything new that you learned, or if there's any more top tips that I haven't described that you have been using. I really wonder if we're going to keep using remote interviews. I've really been enjoying them. My first one, I was so nervous because I was just worried about everything going wrong, but this is why I practiced so much with everyone I knew, just to make sure that there wouldn't be any problems with Teams or with anything. I made my friend create an account and they invited me and everything, and so yeah. And if you have any struggles with IT, there will be a plan put in place, so don't worry. You can always message the IT team or the department or the contact on the sheet. They're going to be here to help you. You don't have to fix everything yourself, but the things that you have control over, try and do everything you can to be on top of them. Okay, so that's it. If you like this video, please subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers, which is so amazing. I can't believe people actually care about those videos. Yeah, share it with your friends. I really wish you luck with your interviews, and I'll see you next time.